philosophically, this is a difference. It is about trying to have balance and run the football. It's been a mixed bag through the first 3 weeks. Tonight they play a run defense in the Eagles that is awfully good. Hard to imagine they're going to have much more success in this game running the football either.
Let's talk about Philadelphia. Here they come in 1-2. They're banged up. A lot of injuries here early in the season on defense, certainly, but on offense. They get Alshon Jeffrey back for this game. They didn't have him last week. They still don't have Deshaun Jackson, so a lot is on Carson Wentz on a short week to go on the road and win this ball game.
Yeah, and I think Carson Wentz has given this team a chance to win each and every week. Tonight, they just got to, number one, not beat themselves. I mean, that's been the hardest thing for them. They're facing a defense that's very opportunistic. They get after the quarterback. They create takeaways. What will help Carson Wentz is if they're able to run the football. As good as Green Bay has been defensively, they have given up some yards on the ground, and Carson Wentz needs some help from that run game.
Yeah, just under 5 yards a carry so far this season. Well, both sidelines are covered with Christina and Aaron Andrews is first up.
Joe, you said it perfectly. It's been a while since this defense was the talk of Titletown, and even Aaron Rodgers making a comment about it this week, saying we can't expect our defense to shut everybody down. They have been, but at some point this offense needs to wake up and start making plays. This D is rolling. They've allowed 38 points through the last 3 games. That is the fewest since 2001, and Rodgers telling me they have juice, they have energy, they have a feel that they haven't had in quite some time. He said they expect to play well and dominate, and they have. For more on the Philadelphia Eagles, let's send it over to Christina Pink.
Well, how about the Eagles defense, Aaron? Matt LaFleur said it. The Eagles still are a handful up front, even though the record doesn't show it, but they need to show it tonight. They have just 2 sacks on the season. That is second to last in the NFL this year, but they're not ready to push the panic button on the pass rush. Talking to Fletcher Cox, he told me, hey, for us going into this game, this D-line is hungry to get to the quarterback. He said we've had our chances, we've been close, but it's time to get back to the basics and get back to the quarterback, Joe.
All right, Christina, thank you. Aaron as well. Spanish language broadcast available tonight on Fox Deportes. Packers won the toss. They defer. The Eagles receive the opening kickoff. And we're glad you're with us tonight on Thursday Night Football, and a beautiful night. 61 degrees. Winds have died down a little bit. Pretty gusty during the course of this Thursday, and with Miles Sanders, the rookie from Penn State, waiting for the kick from Mason Crosby. Off we go. The old ho-hum start out to the 25. It comes, and that's where Carson Wentz will go to work. An overall record of 24-19, 8-13 in his career on the road. He is 3-0 on Thursday Night Football. In his young career, he's gone through a torn ACL. He's gone through the fracture in his back last year. Has yet to play in a postseason game with the Philadelphia Eagles, despite all their success. And now dealing with a lot of noise. They hand the rookie. He ran into his own man. Miles Sanders gets 4. This offense, as you look at their offensive line and where they rank overall up front, they are experienced. They're getting a little older on that offensive line. And again, they're without Deshaun Jackson. They do have Alshon Jeffrey back. Joining Nelson Aguilar and Mac Hollins. 2nd and 6. Delayed handoff. Sanders has some room. That's Jordan Howard, and Howard gets that carry over the right side and gets 19. Howard, Eagle fans have been screaming for him to get the ball, and after Sanders started it, Howard with 19 yards.
Well, look at the hole right there. Mac Hollins, he cracks down. You got Isaac Seumalo, who's coming out and kicking out, and first 2 plays of the game, running plays. That first play of the game with Miles Sanders, I've never seen a hole so big. I'm surprised he only got 4 or 5 yards on that carry.
Howard stays in there. Play action pass is high and incomplete for Aguilar. Over the middle of the field. Let's look at this defense for the Green Bay Packers. They are overall 13th ranked, but they are getting sacks and they are getting takeaways, and that is the name of the game. So far they lead the league with their 8 takeaways.
Well, they've been awfully good, like we talked about coming in. They're the biggest reason that this team is 3-0. Second year in Mike Pettine's defensive scheme, and they brought in some pass rushers, and they're not the only ones, those edge rushers and the 2 Smiths. They have a number of them that can get after the quarterback.
Preston Smith just did on that previous play, and here's a pass that is complete. Jordan Howard for no gain. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10, and Preston Smith got through again.
Well, Jason Peters, he oversets, and he gives the inside lane then to Preston Smith. He starts him with speed. That's what speed will do for you. See the step that he makes. Starts outside rush with speed, comes underneath it, has a straight shot to Carson Wentz.
Third down and 10. Wentz too high, incomplete. It's 4th down. And a lot of contact downfield, no flag, as Jair Alexander and Zach Ertz get into it. Again, there was pressure on Wentz, and almost flat-footed, he threw that ball high.
Yeah, they bring a 5-man rush off the edge, and he's got time. He's got Ertz there. He just sails the ball there. He had another guy in the middle of the field. So Mike Pettine is able to force a 3rd down. He brings an extra rusher. They're able to bring just enough to disrupt Wentz on the throw, and it forces the punt.
And Johnston to punt. There is Shepard. Just outside the 10, and then he gets popped. Somehow able to hang on as Rudy Ford made that play. And a loss of 1 on a painful return by Shepard. A lot of helmet to helmet, and the Packers have the ball, no score. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light Platinum. Starting from the 11. And the Green Bay Packers, their first possession, both backs in the game for Green Bay. Rodgers finds one of them. That's Jamal Williams, and he's wrapped up immediately as Bradham is out there and a flag is down. And a player is down for Green Bay. And thankfully, able to move. That looks like it was Jamal Williams. Well, it is, who had a tough time getting up, and he gets that hit.
Yeah, I thought watching it that there was a late hit. That's Derek Barnett for 96. The whistle had sounded, and Barnett comes in here late after he's already stood up. Right there at the end.
We'll show you another helmet-to-helmet hit by the Eagles when we come back. Let's take a break. Well, first of all, let's just hope and pray that Jamal Williams is okay. You saw him move a moment ago, but they're taking every precaution possible after getting a helmet-to-helmet hit, and that's why they threw the flag. It's against Derek Barnett, 96, who comes in at the end. Bradham, by the way, also has Williams grabbed by the face mask at the end of this play. And now earlier on the punt return, this hit was straight helmet-to-helmet by Rudy Ford on Darius Shepard. There was no flag thrown for that. And so this drive started at the 11. And with Jamal Williams down, the rookie for the Green Bay Packers, Dexter Williams, a second-round pick out of Washington, not active for this game. So the Packers are down to Aaron Jones and the fullback Danny Vitale.
Yeah, they're shorthanded there at the running back position. There's no question. There's Derek Barnett, and there was talk as to whether or not he might be subjected to an ejection, but you know, obviously the late comes in hit. It didn't look egregious, but when you consider now Jamal Williams still on the ground, this is, like you said, Joe, you just hope that he's okay. You can see the body after the hit of Williams just kind of goes to the ground right there. It was significant.
Fletcher Cox trying to settle down and talk to Derek Barnett. Mike Pereira, we were wondering during the break as to whether there was a conversation for a possible ejection. Obviously the answer is no.
But I'm sure there was. You know, when they call the foul, as they did against Barnett, that opens it up to Al Riveron in New York to consider whether or not he should be ejected. And they looked at the play and felt like that it was not egregious enough that ejection wasn't warranted. Now, in the first one, the hit by Dee Ford on the punt returner, New York can't get involved because there was not a flag thrown. But if you look at that, Shepard's defenseless for one thing, and also, you know, you're talking about a helmet-to-helmet hit. It really should have been a foul for illegal use of the helmet.
And a nice ovation, and great to see the thumbs up sign from Jamal Williams as they cart him off the field. Derek Barnett went over and said something to Jamal Williams as Jamal made his way off the playing field. Now they're to the sideline and about to go up the tunnel, and then he'll get looked at.
Well, it's a violent game, as we know, but none of these players, you know, really want to injure the other guy, and you can only imagine what Derek Barnett is feeling right now. Again, our thoughts are with Jamal Williams. Just hope he's okay. It was a good sign, like you said, that he was able to give the thumbs up.
So the 15-yard foul moves the ball out across the 25 to the 26. Back to work, Rodgers. Quick throw. That's Adams. Davante Adams, who had only 4 targets and wasn't happy about it in the Packer win over the Broncos, gets 9.
Well, they put Davante Adams then in the slot. And sometimes when you're able to move a guy, and Davante Adams is that type of player. Some guys you're not able to move around like you can him, but when you're able to move him to the inside, it makes it a little bit more difficult on some of these defenses to try to double you up.
Rodgers floats it. Adams, what a throw, what a catch. Davante Adams down inside the 10.
You can see that route release right there. Davante Adams against Sidney Jones, and a perfectly thrown ball. Aaron Rodgers, there was no doubt where he was going with the ball. As soon as he got it from center, he immediately turns and looks to Davante Adams. That's because Jim Schwartz and this Eagles defense, they play a lot of single high safety. And with that, Davante Adams should have a lot of opportunities like that throughout this ball game one-on-one.
Packers now call a timeout. That 58-yard play is Green Bay's season long. And it was like Rodgers just walked down there and handed it to him. We'll be right back after this from Progressive. Davante Adams had a huge year last year, 111 catches, 13 touchdowns. That was good for a tie for second across the league. The catches one off Sterling Sharp's Packer record. He's got 2 catches in this one, 17 on the year. First and goal, they flip it to him. Adams. And Geronimo Allison downfield blocking, gets hit from behind, but able to pop right up, a gain of 4, and Rodney McLeod is in on the stop.
Well, when we talked to Aaron Rodgers yesterday and Matt LaFleur as well, they both said, hey, we've got to get the ball into Davante Adams' hands more. You know, 4 touches is not enough. It sure helps when you know you've got one-on-one coverage and you get the big play on the opening possession. But they come right back off of that with the toss sweep.
That goes down as a reception, as this is a spinning touchdown for Aaron Jones, and a fast start for this Packer offense.
Eagles have the right defense on. Sidney Jones, he comes up right off the edge right there. You know, he just is not able to really wrap up Aaron Jones and keep him from scoring the touchdown. That's an area where he's gotten better, but a nice opening drive. That'll give this offense some confidence.
It's got to put a smile on the face of Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Jones. Packed up 7. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light Platinum. Our aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Packers have their longest drive of the season, 89 yards to start this game offensively, and the Eagles have now allowed points on every opening drive this season, a league high 24. And that's 3 straight games for the Green Bay Packers with an opening drive touchdown. Back to work is Carson Wentz, now down by 7.
I know it's early in this ball game with each offense having one possession, but this is kind of how it's looked for each of these teams through the first 3 weeks of the year. The Packers, they've come out, they've looked good to start their games. The Eagles, on the other hand, they've gotten off to slow starts. They've had double-digit deficits in each of their first 3 games, and here in the early going, they find themselves down 7.
Yep, they need a quicker answer here in week 4, starting from the 25. High snap, handoff to Howard. And the former Chicago Bear is driving with Lowry on him and Blake Martinez, a gain of 4.
Well, we talked about it coming in, Joe, and I think that that's going to be the real key for this Eagles offense is their ability to have at least the threat of the running game. This Packers defense did a really nice job opening night against the Chicago Bears and shutting down the run, but the Minnesota Vikings ran the ball really well against them. Denver ran the ball well. You cannot just let these edge rushers tee off on your quarterback.
Howard right side. You know, Jordan Howard is number 3 in the league since he came in. That was while with the Bears, but he's behind Ezekiel Elliott and Todd Gurley, a guy that they picked up from Chicago in a trade, and the Eagle fans want to see him fed a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think in a game like this, I think you ride the veteran as long as he's producing for you. You get a rookie, and as versatile as Miles Sanders is, it's a big atmosphere and a must-win game.
3rd down and 3. The pass is caught for a big first down for Philly. That's Zach Ertz. Gain of 14 on 3rd and 3.
This guy's such a good route runner. Watch the way he comes off the ball and just the way he speed cuts that out to the boundary, and the confidence that Carson Wentz has with Zach Ertz. I mean, he's like a wide receiver, a big wide receiver. He's got a big catch radius, and Adrian Amos is in coverage, and that's an all-night affair for anybody.
That's career catch number 455 for Ertz, the 2-time Pro Bowler. He takes a rare snap off, and Howard is stood up. Dean Lowry after a gain of 1. Time for tonight's Next Gen Stats, powered by AWS. If you look at the numbers, Carson Wentz has a significantly higher completion percentage when throwing out to his right. The numbers to his left, over the middle, and then to his right at just under 74%. Alshon Jeffrey here is to his left. He looks that way, comes to his right, and the pass is high and incomplete. With Jair Alexander defending against Matt Collins, who had stepped out of bounds on his way downfield.
Well, Matt Collins is running the route, and it didn't look like he was really expecting to have the ball thrown in his direction. They were locked up, single coverage across the board. Here's the release, and he kind of slows down there, and then he kind of looks up after he'd stepped out of bounds, and there's the ball.
Third down and 9. Wentz lowers his shoulder. a strong tackle is made by Amos to keep Carson Wentz from picking up the first down, a gain of 6.
Yeah, really nice job by Amos, and that's what he's brought to this defense because they're in man coverage. The Packers are. They rush 5, and you're going to see how much field Wentz has out in front of him. When he took off running, I thought he was going to pick up the first down easily, but Amos closed on that quickly. And I know talking to Mike Pettin, defensive coordinator, he said the safety play between Amos and the rookies Darnell Savage has made all the difference for this defense. That's saying a lot considering the pass rush that they've had.
Here's a fair catch at the 10. Good to see Darius Shepard after that helmet-to-helmet hit early by Rudy Ford back out there. And even Wentz appreciated that by Amos. Good tackle. Pack have it up 7. Well, as we welcome you back in this, the 100th season of NFL football, there's quarterback greatness in one photo. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers on the outside, and the late great Bart Starr in the middle. Handoff is to Aaron Jones, and Jones is able to pick up 6. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Well, Joe, as you would expect, running back Jamal Williams is out after that vicious hit. According to the Packers, he's being evaluated for a neck and head injury. Good news, though, he does have movement in all 4 extremities.
Great to hear. 2nd down and 4. And again, Green Bay down to Aaron Jones and Danny Vitale, their fullback.
58.
And that had a lot of movement and will cost 5 yards.
That's some of what they've had to work through with this new offense, and it's affected the offensive linemen. Certainly it's different for Aaron Rodgers in how they're calling things at the line of scrimmage.
Full start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So even though that's Brian Bulaga, who you'd say, wow, this guy's been in the league 10 years. He's been playing with Aaron Rodgers the entire time. He certainly knows his cadence. Well, not entirely true because they're doing things a little bit differently. And you go back to that Week 1 game against the Bears. These guys were not firing off the line at the same time. And they're slowly getting better, but those are the kind of mistakes that you just don't expect from some of these vets.
So now 2nd and 9. The pass is caught by Davante Adams, Mr. Busy. A gain of 12 and a first down.
Well, they go single high safety, and they're trying to run a defender underneath Davante Adams. That's one way you double a receiver. It doesn't always have to be 2 defensive backs, but that time Aaron Rodgers able to manipulate the defense, and you can see the hole. You see right there, he just overshoots it. Malcolm Jenkins, and it opens up that lane for the completion in the zone coverage.
That's already 4 catches for Adams, matching what he did last week.
Blue 58. Blue 58.
Rodgers protected. Downfield, he overthrows Jimmy Graham, but a flag is down. Rodgers was not sacked last week here at home against the Broncos. 2 the week before, 5 at Chicago in the season opener.
I'm not so sure that might not be offensive pass interference. It was a good read on the outside. I couldn't tell exactly who the corner was, but he was trying to come off
Pass
of his man.
Offense, number 83. 10-yard penalty at the previous spot. Replay, first down.
It's Rasul Douglas, and he's trying to come back and make a play on the throw then to Jimmy Graham. And the contact that was made on Valdez Scantling was the one who made the contact, and that's the one who drew the flag.
The Eagles and their fans know all about offensive pass interference. They were called for it 3 times last week in that tough 3-point loss at home to the Lions. Brings up 1st and 20.
319.
Underneath, pass is caught. That's Valdez Scantling. And a late flag as Valdez Scantling's head was turned on that tackle right along the Packers sideline. It looked like they almost talked the official into throwing that flag for this.
That's any helmet opening, Joe, that's grabbed is considered face mask, and clearly
Personal
that
foul.
is even with the
Face
helmet
mask.
shield.
Defense, number 52. 15-yard penalty, automatic.
Wow.
First down.
These are the penalties. They were getting ready to put him into second down and long. Made a really nice defensive stop right there, and just a senseless penalty by Zach Brown gives him a new set of downs and 15 yards. Those are the things that have just been hurting this Eagles team throughout the first part of this season. Just way too many penalties. Third most penalized team in football, to go along with turnovers and drop passes.
Adams, catch number 5. Spun out of bounds with another Green Bay first down by Avonte Maddox. Tonight's GMC professional grade, Aaron Rodgers in his career on Thursdays. This includes Thanksgiving. He likes this day of the week. 9-3, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a quarterback rating which is higher than his career quarterback rating, which is 103.1, the highest all time.
Tell you another guy who likes Thursday night, and that's Doug Peterson. He's 4-0.
Something's got to give.
U19.
Allison in motion. He gets it on the handoff to midfield. We talked to these Green Bay Packers, and in particular their first-year head coach Matt LaFleur. He said we're going to do a lot less motion this week. It's a short week. We're going to get up, snap the ball, and get after this Eagles defense. They've had some motion so far.
Yeah, especially on third downs. And the reason for that is they got some young players. Like it's been talked about every week, the new system, got it. But it allows these younger players not to have to think so much if they can just get lined up and just do their assignment.
Rodgers keeps, comes underneath to Lewis. Mercedes Lewis with a hurdle and a first down inside the 40. Went over Nathan Gary.
He might have learned that one from all those great track athletes at UCLA. That's pretty good right there for a 14-year vet, Mercedes Lewis, and he's been a nice addition to this team. You better be real confident you can get over that guy when you try that move.
Rodgers has started 8 for 8 for 108. Here's Jones, hit in the backfield by Jenkins and able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
What do you think of these two possessions now for Green Bay offensively? The first possession, they were backed up, what, on the 10-yard line to start that drive. The Derek Barnett penalty moves them off the 10-yard line, and then they're off and running with the big 58-yarder then to Davante Adams. This one, they had great field position. Philadelphia had them backed up, and what a nice job by Green Bay getting it a change of field position, but now threatening to come away with points on the drive.
Second and 10, wide open, Davante Adams. Pitch and catch.
Well, Joe, they've got Sidney Jones. He's not in the game. He's in the tent. Avonte Maddox, when you turn and bail like that and you're going against Davante Adams, number one, he's scared to death he's going to get run by. So Adams has already had the one big play, and when you're worried about that, it opens up all kinds of things underneath.
It's already his 13th career ball game where he's had over 100 receiving yards. Toss to Jones. Forced out by Douglas.
Well, last year, Davante Adams was the second most targeted player in the National Football League. 169 times he was thrown to. The only guy who had more was Julio Jones. He was thrown to 170 times. So even then with that, Aaron Rodgers said this year going into the year it wasn't enough. We've got to get him the ball more. So you can only imagine the frustration after Sunday's game, only targeted 4 times, yes, 4 receptions. It just goes to show you really want to get a guy the ball. You can do it, and they've done it.
2nd and 10. Rodgers pulls it down and will take off. He hasn't done a lot of that so far. He slides on the play after pressure by Brandon Graham and picks up 4.
He's not done a lot of it, and I think it goes back, Joe, to when he had the broken collarbone against the Minnesota Vikings. When he came back, he was certainly protecting that. And then last year, he has the knee injury week 1 against the Bears. He was never the same for quite some time, and there was a lot of weeks that went by where he just knew he wasn't much of a threat. So we haven't seen much of it, but what a weapon he has been over the years when he's allowed to use his legs.
First time the Packers have faced a 3rd down. Pass is caught for the first down. Jimmy Graham, who went back-to-back games without a catch, and now they get number 80 involved here at the end of quarter number 1. It's 7-0. Packers moving it again. Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light Platinum will return after this. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light Platinum. There's our little perch here at this stadium that seems to get bigger and better every year. 4th time Rodgers has started a ball game 10 for 10. First time since 2016, and he's got a first down here. Hands to the fullback, who Aaron really likes, Danny Vitale. And the 4th-year pro gets 3.
Probably the first time Davante Adams has had over 100 yards receiving in the first quarter as well. How about that? 6 catches, 107 yards receiving in the first quarter. You know, yeah, why would you not try to get the ball to Davante Adams? But they have made it look very easy.
Second and 7. Rodgers steps through. End zone. Incomplete for Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Philadelphia played that well. They're trying to get Davante Adams. We've seen that speed cut out route that he runs. They're trying to get him on a wheel route, but it's soft coverage, and they could have just come out and thrown the out-breaking route. Instead, because of the route that was called, it's not there, and that's just a little off target for Aaron Rodgers' first incompletion.
3rd down and 7. Eagles need a stop. Pass, end zone, tipped, and a flag is thrown. Sendejo got a hand on it with Davante Adams wide open behind, but a flag is down.
Well, there might have been contact on Davante Adams. There's the deflection, but at the top of the route when Adams is running, you can see right here. I think that's where the flag came in.
That was Cyprien. Long conversation here. Really good play by Sendejo. Longtime Viking. First year in Philly.
Yeah, boy, I like him a lot. Liked him when he was in Minnesota. I think it was really a nice pickup for Philadelphia. The officials are trying to figure this thing out as to whether the contact was initiated by Cyprien or Davante Adams, but Jim Schwartz is going to have to make a decision, and I think it's going to have to be he's going to have to come after Aaron Rodgers. Otherwise, this
there's no
defensive
foul
back,
on the play. It's 3rd down.
It's 4th down.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz is letting him know. He's just saying, you know, he can exhale.
So there is no foul. Mike Pereira, you're with us. You like the fact that they picked up the flag.
Yeah, I like it. They were actually talking about, is it OPI or is it illegal contact? Because it was 7 yards downfield. To me, neither had an effect, and so I think the no call was the right call.
30-yard try here by Mason Crosby, shorter than an extra point. 10-zip. So close. Sendejo made a play, and it's 10-0 Green Bay early second quarter. Back to Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light Platinum. There's Doug Peterson. What a run it has been. 30-21 overall. He and his Eagles won the Super Bowl a couple of years back in 2017 with Nick Foles at quarterback. And 2 different stints here in Green Bay as a Packer, backing up his very close friend Brett Favre. Sanders on the return. Nice return by Miles Sanders. Crosby in his way, and Mason Crosby takes him down. But there's a little jolt of energy for this Philly team, a return of 66 yards.
Well, they needed somebody to make a play, and there's a key block that's going to spring him right there, and you see the lane that then creates. This is a kind of a mixed bag on Sunday with special teams. They gave up a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and then they come back and they block a field goal. See Mason Crosby, he doesn't like that at all. But you're right, that is exactly what this Eagles team needed, and they set up Carson Wentz with beautiful field position.
It was Alex Ellis, a tight end who just added to the active roster, who threw that big block as Ertz makes the catch. And they're going to mark Zach Ertz inside the 30, a gain of 5. Amos on the stop.
Well, this sure helps. I mean, we talked about this is the fourth game in a row. They've been behind by double digits, only this time they're going up against a Packers defense that gives up just 11 points a game through the first 3 weeks. So that return already sets them up with a chance to come away with points on the drive.
Look down here, Matt Collins with Alexander right in his face. Pass is caught over the middle. And who else? Ertz. Who else? Amos on the stop. A gain of 10 and a first down.
Nice block right here. And that creates a lane, and then Alex Ellis is out there as well, and that's Miles Sanders. That's one of the things that he can do, and I said it earlier, he's a versatile guy, and to come up with the big return, he's able to do some things within the passing game as well. We haven't seen that tonight yet, but I believe we will.
They fake it to Sanders, throw it for Jeffrey. Back after missing a game with a bad calf, can't haul it in with Kevin King all over him.
That would have been an awfully nice catch. Though, you know, he can make some of the tougher catches look routine, but that was going to be a tough one for him to haul in and then still get his feet down. Wentz just not able to quite put it in a position where he could go up and use his size.
Darren Sproles checks in. 2nd and 10. They fake it Sproles' way and throw it to the tight end, Goddard. And the second-year pro gets a first down to the 5 as Blake Martinez made the stop, but a well-designed play and a catch and run of 14.
Well, really good. You're going to see the Eagles go 2 tight end package. However, the Packers don't match it up. They go 6 defensive backs. Normally you would not see that personnel against 2 tight ends, but it opens things up. They're in a formation that looks like possibly heavy run, but they're able to get Goddard out on the screen pass and pick up a first down. Nice play.
Good protection and a touchdown throw to Alshon Jeffrey. And a perfect answer from the Philadelphia Eagles, and a flag comes in late. It's in the end zone, and the indication is it's against Philly.
Well, I thought there was contact on Alshon Jeffrey, and maybe that's, although the flag is on the other side. There, you see Alshon Jeffrey as he pushes up right there, and he just works through that.
Pass interference. Offense, number 86. 10-yard penalty. Replay the down.
They get Zach Ertz.
Yeah, instead, I thought they might get Jair Alexander. Instead, they're going to get Zach Ertz blocking downfield. Here he is, number 86.
Mike Pereira, you like that call?
I don't like the call only because of the fact that the contact really is at the line of scrimmage, and you have to be more than a yard downfield. And although he maybe continues it on a bit, it's got nothing to do with the play, and I don't think that was a call that needed to be made.
Doug Peterson is going to ask for another look at that, and we'll take a break. We're going to get the call here. They were looking at it in replay.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference on number 86. Therefore, the result of the play is a touchdown. Please set the game clock to 11.
Mike Pereira, first of all, was this play challenged by Doug Peterson?
No, it was not, because it was ruled on the field as a scoring play. So even though the penalty took the score away, that still makes it automatically reviewable by the replay system in New York. And they did the right thing taking this away, because the initial contact was at the line of scrimmage, and then he was working away from that contact. So good job of picking that up and allowing the touchdown.
I agree. Really good job by the officials taking a look and making the right call.
And it's a three-point game. That was all set up by the rookie Miles Sanders with that 67-yard kick return, the longest by an Eagle since Josh Huff in week 7 of 2016. And that was exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles needed, with a record of 1-2 and trailing 10-0 on the road. And now we'll welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. That was a nice answer, and the rookie on the kick return really set it up.
No question. Big return by Miles Sanders. And, if you're going to win a game like this in Lambeau, it better be a team effort. And special teams has to play a big part in that. The defense has been struggling. They get the big return by Sanders, and then good execution on a couple throws there with Carson Wentz. I thought it was well done. And like Mike Pereira said, I like that they went back and they were able to pick up the flag, because I think Zach Ertz initiated the contact within the yard, was trying to get away, and it was well done.
Tremon Smith is back for the Packers. Will he bring it out? Yes. A leap, and he's out to the 24. And a 25-yard return.
Well, Dave Phipp, the special teams coordinator for the Eagles, he's put together some good units that have impacted a lot of games over the years for this Philadelphia franchise. But, boy, they needed a play, and the rookie came through with the big return. And this was a nice job by Carson Wentz. He initially was trying to throw it to the back off of that pick by Zach Ertz. It wasn't there. He comes off of it with patience and is able to find Alshon Jeffrey.
Here's a toss to Jones. Well played. And who came up? Andrew Sendejo.
Wow.
What a hit. A loss of 2.
Well, you talked about Andrew Sendejo, and he's made a career of those kinds of hits, and that quite honestly is how he's in the league. I mean, because he is a heat-sinking missile, and you don't see hits like that too often in our game anymore.
Boy, he just fought his way onto the roster year after year for the Vikings, and now he's an Eagle. He's made 2 big plays.
is probably coming. 319 up.
Second down and 12. Quick throw. Pass is caught, and a quick tackle. That's Allison on the reception, and a gain of 2. Tomorrow, celebrity fans join NFL stars and legends to begin counting down the greatest games in NFL history. NFL 100 Greatest tomorrow at 8, only on NFL Network.
Well, Jim Schwartz He's dialed up the blitz, and it's not easy to pull it off against Aaron Rodgers. You know, he can see those types of things. He eats blitzes for breakfast. And so he held his count. They got the ball out, but it was a nice job of rallying. And here's a play.
Free play. Pass is caught. Adams spins down the sideline. High stepping down near the 35, and there may be a flag at the end on a face mask. A gain of 39, and then it looked like a face mask at the end of it on a free play.
Well, there's a jump, and Avonte Maddox, he is in no man's land out there on Davante Adams. Look at him. He is just totally trying to just hold on, and then with space, Adams is just able to make him miss. Avonte Maddox is there's the penalty there on McLeod, but Maddox he's a versatile guy. Last year he had to get moved and play some safety, and because of McLeod coming back from his injury and Sendejo joining the team, have been able to put him back at corner. But with Sidney Jones out of the lineup, he has just not been much of a match for
both
Davante
by the defense. Offside. Defense. Number 54. That penalty has declined. Personal foul. Face mask. Defense number 23. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. It's first down.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is just doing Aaron Rodgers type things. And when we talked to Matt LaFleur, he said, I came to the Packers and I said, whatever you guys do with these hard counts and these free plays, just keep doing it, because I've never seen anything like it in the NFL. And they got a touchdown on it last week against the Broncos, and they get a 39-yard play plus 15 here.
Well, Rodgers is really good at it. He's tried it throughout this first half. The Eagles have done a good job of holding it until that last play.
Jones carries. Barnett in on the stop. And a gain of 4.
They come in talking about this running game that Matt LaFleur puts in, and the play action passing that comes off of it. And that was Aaron Jones's. That was just his 6th carry of the night. Hasn't had much success. Just 12 yards to show for it. This has been the Packers offense that we watched all those years with Mike McCarthy.
19.
2nd and 6. Jones cuts back. Plays made by Gary. A gain of 4, 3rd and short coming up. Christina?
Well, yeah, you guys mentioned Sidney Jones being out. Officially, he's questionable with a hamstring injury. He spent a lot of time trying to work through it on the sideline, but had to go back to the locker room and remains there right now.
Yeah, Christina, last year he missed a lot of time and dealt with a hamstring injury in 2018. They're without Ronald Darby, who is not active with a hamstring injury. Jalen Mills is on the PUP list. Ranks are getting thin back there for Philadelphia.
Well, and you start thinking, is Matt LaFleur thinking 4-down territory here? Here's Jimmy Graham. They talked about getting him the ball down here in the red zone. Let's see if they do.
3rd down and 2. Adams covered by Douglas. That play's not there. And we'll get our answer. The answer is they're going to kick the field goal.
It's a nice job by Rasul Douglas. Really nice. They're trying to run the slant and go. They call it the sluggo route, and he stayed on top of the receiver, took it away.
And so a nice stop for Philadelphia on 3rd and 2, and it'll be a 31-yard try here by Crosby. Low snap. And a good hold by J.K. Scott, the punter. Crosby 2 for 2. Packers lead is 6 with 8:24 before half. Over on the bench, they work on the All-Pro. Left tackle David Bakhtiari. Make sure he's okay before Philadelphia gets the ball back, with Crosby about to kick it to Miles Sanders.
Bakhtiari's been a great player for this organization. I can't help now when I hear his name or see him with that beer chugging that he did that he did at the basketball game.
Here is a kick that goes out of bounds. Oh, it'll take the ball out to the 40. And a mistake by Crosby. That just came off ugly.
Yeah, this time self-inflicted by the Packers.
So great starting field position for Philadelphia, down by 6. We'll take a look at tonight's wild card presented by the Joker, Preston Smith. Last year, all 16 games had 4 sacks. So far in 3 games, coming in 4.5. Got a 4-year deal. Stay tuned for the 2-minute warning as we take a special look at the Joker, only in theaters October 4th. Rated R from the 40. Handoff is to Sanders, makes a nice move and crosses the 45 to the 46, where Amos brings him down.
Well, the Joker, Preston Smith, he's not on the field right now. And Mike Pettin, the defensive coordinator, they do a nice job, he does, of really getting everybody involved in this defense. They have a good rotation up front. They play a lot of guys in the secondary. Everybody has a role. They know when they put the helmet on and the shoulder pads on game day, they're going to get out there on the field and contribute.
It's Kyler Fackrell coming off the edge down at the bottom, 51. As the former backup to Saquon Barkley at Penn State, Miles Sanders gets 3. Rookie Rashawn Gary in on the tackle, 3rd and 1.
That's some good tough running there by Miles Sanders. And when he was drafted, he didn't play a lot at Penn State when you're backing up Saquon Barkley. He did last year, ran for over 1,200 yards. And when they drafted him, they knew he was going to contribute early, but probably has contributed more than even the coaches might have imagined. He just left the field. But I know last Sunday when he put the ball on the ground a couple times, it plagued him in college. He's worked on it, and well, he wants to make amends to that for sure.
Wentz keeps and spins, got the first down.
Oh, that was all.
The ball came out. They're going to let this play on. Returning it is Alexander, but Wentz certainly looked down.
Yeah, he looked down. That was the right decision to let it go.
We've seen a couple of examples where they've blown the play dead. He is clearly down.
Yeah.
And this will come back and be a first down for Philadelphia.
Yeah, kudos to these officials. We were at the Saints-Rams game when it cost the Saints a touchdown.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. Touchdown.
And the reason they let this play on, as we talked about then and other crews talk about, is because it's a scoring play. They automatically review it so they can fix it in replay, as opposed to Mike Pereira. If it were to go the other way, they blow it dead, all you get is the recovery and not the return.
And really, ever since that Rams-Saints game, you have seen pass fumble plays where they have let the play go, even though it's pretty obvious that it was a pass. And it is the right thing. You want to lean that way because you can come back and correct it. And they will take a look at this. Joe and Al Riveron will make the decision, and we'll know when we come back.
It's a review. During the break, they looked at it, overturned the call on the field, and Philadelphia has a first down at the Green Bay 49 as they trail by 6 with under 7 to go in the half.
Really great job by Carson Wentz. He got stopped short of the first down, it looked like, and just his own sheer determination was able to pick it up.
He stays on his feet, shows his strength, throws over the middle, flag is down, and the pass is incomplete. I don't know how Wentz stayed on his feet, and then a flag at the end. There was pressure by Zadarius Smith. Here's a call.
I thought early on.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 97. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
I thought Zadarius Smith might have gotten his face mask in the pocket right there, but it's across the shoulder pad. But then the late hit at the end of this throw is what brought the flag on Kenny Clark.
And that moves the ball inside the 35 to the 34.
Well, you can't question Carson Wentz's toughness.
Handoff here is to the rookie, and Sanders, brought down by Preston Smith, is good for 9.
Well, this offensive line is probably the best line that the Packers have faced here in the early going. You're going to say Jason Kelce, he's going to come out. Saw a couple of these holes on that opening drive, and then the Packers kind of tightened some things up, but this offensive line is starting to rally a little bit and create some running lanes.
They hand it off here. Sanders brought down from behind by Blake Martinez. A loss of 1 on the play, so 3rd down and 2 coming up. Talked about him backing up Saquon Barkley, and there they are. 2016 Penn State running back group picture. 3rd down and 2. Sproles in there for Philadelphia. Wentz, pass is caught for the 1st down. Ertz. Will Redmond on the stop, but not before 13 yards and a 1st down. And here's Philadelphia knocking on the door, a chance to take the lead.
That's Blake Martinez, and he's in a spy position on Carson Wentz. And when you have a quarterback that can move, then you're able to kind of take some people out of coverage. So this is a defense that rushes sometimes just 3 guys, but usually 4. They're able to get pressure. Now they're tying up a 5th guy to create some opportunities downfield.
Inside the red zone, trouble with the snap. Wentz to his left, going to take it and slide inside the 10, marked at the 9, a gain of 5. Despite all the activity and success of the Green Bay Packers offense, right now the Philadelphia Eagles are 9 yards away from a potential lead here in the 1st half at Lambeau.
Well, this time Blake Martinez, he's just dropping into coverage. They do not have him in the spy position on that play, and Carson Wentz sees some field, and he takes it. A much more athletic guy than I think a lot of people give him credit for.
Sanders trying to pick his way through, and he's brought down right at the marker. Depends on where they place it. It looks like they're going to mark about half a yard short.
And he's hanging on to the ball. You can bet that the Packers are trying to rip it loose. And you know, Miles Sanders, not the biggest guy, but he is not just a perimeter player. He can run between the tackles.
Wentz keeps and gets it. He's now 5 for 5 on the year on 3rd and 1. He's big at 6'5", 237. You can't stop him. Meanwhile, 5'11", 211 is Miles Sanders. He's been impressive here in the 1st half.
He is. That ball got away from his body just a little bit, and he's certainly trying to be mindful of it. I said earlier that it was a problem for him in college, and Deuce Staley, the running back coach, former player for the Philadelphia Eagles, he's worked extensively with him this offseason, but he has been impressive. He's going to be a good player for this Eagles team.
Eagles have converted on 3 third down tries on this drive. Wentz incomplete, looking for Alshon Jeffrey, and Jair Alexander tried to undercut it.
Yeah, that was it's a good thing that was wide, because if he had thrown this to where Jeffrey could catch it, Jair Alexander was going to intercept it. This guy, he's becoming one of the really talented corners in this league. He can fly. He's got a lot of confidence. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he is a fine man-to-man cover player.
Jeffrey has a Philadelphia touchdown. Out wide to the left. 2nd and goal. They fake it to Howard. Throw it. Touchdown. Goddard. And the Eagles are an extra point away from taking the lead as Dallas Goedert does a Lambeau leap. Finds an Eagle fan or two.
The only guy who can take this away is Blake Martinez, as long as Zach Ertz wins on the route. And once he gets inside without any resistance really whatsoever, all Wentz has to do, I say all he has to do, there's a little more effort is, but hold Martinez and then make an accurate throw and touchdown Eagles.
Philadelphia has the lead. And now with 2:45 left in the half, as you look at the eyes of Carson Wentz, he finds the second-year pro Dallas Goedert, and the Eagles still trail Davante Adams in yards. But they no longer trail the Packers on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said Zach Ertz. Dallas Goedert, who, boy, they missed him when he missed the one game, came up lame in warm-ups against Atlanta. He played sparingly on Sunday, coming back from that calf, and you know, he gives them the opportunity to play more of the two tight end stuff, and you know what a package that can be when you pair his abilities up with Zach Ertz, and that's a nice job by Dallas Goedert of getting inside and running a heck of a route.
So far the difference in this half is come in the red zone. Green Bay 1 for 3 and converting inside the 20 into the end zone. Philadelphia 2 for 2. Trayvon Smith waits for the kick from Elliott. And the Packers will start at the 25 in just 2 days. It's champ versus champ as Errol the Truth Spence Jr. takes on Showtime Sean Porter. And a world championship unification bout at Staples Center. Plus, champion Anthony Dirrell defends his title against David Benavidez. Saturday at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view or order now on the Fox Sports app.
Well, I know there's 2 minutes and 45 seconds, but when you think of Aaron Rodgers and his resume in a 2-minute situation, I'd take him probably over anybody in the league. See what he's able to do here before this half. They get the ball to start the third quarter as well.
False start. Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, first down.
All eyes on this possession will have to go to Davante Adams. The way he's come out of the gate after being targeted only 4 times against the Broncos in a win.
They're giving some safety help right now to Rasul Douglas.
Pass is over the middle, caught by Mercedes Lewis on 1st and 15.
Yeah, so you know, you start helping with the outside receivers, and Aaron Rodgers knows that. It leaves the middle of the field vulnerable. You're able to get the ball right into Mercedes Lewis to make this a manageable down and distance after the false start.
158,
Just trying to draw them off sides. That's a great job by this Eagles defense, just running it down to the 2-minute warning.
2nd down and 6 when we come back. 2 minutes left in the half, and we take a look at The Joker, only in theaters October 4th, rated R. As we welcome you back, we look back at the 1960 NFL Championship game. Some of the great faces and personalities like Horning, and there's Concrete Charlie and Jim Taylor. Bednarik with a cigar and a cigarette. There's Paul Horning.
His name in the ring of photos.
The Eagles defeated the Packers by a score of 17-13.
They
have a chance to get everybody reset as Rodgers keeps balls out and recovered by Philadelphia and Brandon Graham. Big play was made by Derek Barnett. And Rodgers comes away holding his right hand.
That's just great effort around the corner. Derek Barnett, they're trying to block him, kick him out with Mercedes Lewis off the play action. He just keeps coming. And Rodgers feels like he has time in the pocket to step up, and completely unaware that Barnett is coming in behind him. That's a great strip by Barnett, and how about Brandon Graham being there to make a play? But the bigger news right now is how is Aaron Rodgers' hand?
Barnett made the play, and then that sure-handed fumble recovery by Brandon Graham. Back inside the red zone are the Eagles. Howard inside the 15. That's only the third Packer turnover this season, and here it is, forced by Barnett.
Just outstanding work. You know, what looked like pretty good protection overall. One guy just keeps playing, and he's able to come in behind and make a play. And you know, you had the two special teams plays. One a gaffe by the Packers, the other return set up the previous touchdowns. Now the takeaway defensively sets him up here.
Here is Howard. Full head of steam, sets up 1st and goal inside the 5, and he was looking at the end zone and frustrated he didn't get there. A gain of 10. Timeout taken by the Packers on defense.
Some of these holes that have been created, take a look at this. I mean, you just don't see holes this big. The double team there by Seumalo and Kelsey, the kick out by Jason Peters. There's a lot of room there to run, and we've seen that now quite a few times here in this first half.
It was the hard hit by Will Redmond, originally a 3rd-round pick by the 49ers, who kept Howard out of the end zone, but it's 1st and goal with the ball sitting at the 4.
Well, we talked about it, that as good as this Packers defense has been through 3 games, at least the last 2, they have been susceptible to the run game, and the Eagles have started to take advantage of some of that.
They stick with it. Howard backs his way near the 1. And timeout taken by the Packers again. They are out of timeouts. It'll be 2nd down and goal for Philadelphia. Stay tuned for the Toyota halftime. The guys will be along from Midtown Manhattan. Tony on Devontae Adams, huge first half. It has been definitely that. 7 catches, 147 yards, and they may not be finished piling up numbers. And a sit down with this year's Super Bowl performers. Philly trailed 10-0 with under 12 minutes left in the half. They lead by 1. Have 2nd and goal from the 1 after the turnover. Howard, touchdown. The Eagles just flipped the script with under 12 to go here in this first half.
Well, I know it was 2nd down there, but you have to believe that Doug Peterson was thinking 4-down territory to punch it in one way or another. This offensive line has done a really good job here in this first half of moving some defenders, creating some lanes, and taking the lead right now.
Elliott adds to it. Good blocking up front by Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson to lead the way for Jordan Howard.
Well, you knew in order to beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, it had to be a total team effort. Special teams has done their part in the first half. Offense has been able to score touchdowns, and then defensively they really give their offense a short field here in order to take the lead. I wonder right now what Matt LaFleur is thinking with what, a minute 59 seconds to play, just under a minute. Last Sunday in that game against Denver, in a very similar situation, they knelt on the ball and went in. Now they get the ball to start the second half. will he turn Aaron Rodgers loose? No timeouts. But 59 seconds or whatever time they're going to have when they get the ball is a long time for a guy like Rodgers.
Eagles came in with 2 sacks through 3 games. They get a big one from Derek Barnett. He's got 8.5 now in his young career. First-round pick from Tennessee. The Super Bowl year of 2017 for the Eagles. And that 3rd sack for this Philly defense set up that last touchdown. Aaron?
Well, as we can see, Aaron Rodgers back on the field after he was kind of holding his right wrist, said he's good, fine, good to go, but right tackle Brian Bulaga is not. He's had quite a conversation with the athletic training staff. No word on his condition yet, but obviously not out there on the field.
Guy who has really battled a lot of injuries over the years.
Illegal formation.
He was off to a really
on the
nice
kicking
start.
team number 54, as he did not have a foot on the 34-yard line. 5-yard penalty from the touchback spot. First down.
So they look at Bulaga. Rodgers is cracking his knuckles on his right hand before he comes back out. And there was a 5-yard penalty on Philadelphia, which moves the ball up to the 30. That's where this drive will start with 59 seconds left.
Yeah, I think this offensive line for the Packers, they're awfully good when they have their 2 anchors on the edge with Bakhtiari and Bulaga. But like you said, Joe, Bulaga, boy, he just had a hard time staying on the field, and he was really playing well here. But they'll miss him through this game if he doesn't come back.
Alex Light takes over at right tackle. Another catch for Davante Adams. That is number 8. Avonte Maddox, he's seen enough of Davante Adams. That was good for 11, and number 17 is up to 8 catches, 158 yards.
Well, if I was Matt LaFleur, I'd put Davante Adams to the offense's right every time, because that's where Avonte Maddox is. They're not flipping corners. Russell Douglas has had better success. Here they are again. That matchup at the top. Russell Douglas down here at the bottom has had more success against Adams when they've matched up.
Rodgers to his right, throws it away. Jimmy Graham had turned and was taking off upfield, I think thinking that Rodgers was going to run, and instead Aaron Rodgers just threw it out. 2nd and 10. 49 seconds left, no timeouts.
Well, in order to get to where Mason Crosby, at least his career long is 58 yards. So you're looking at essentially 19, 20 yards to get to what his long is. But these kickers, they were bombing them pretty good in this direction before the game.
On 2nd down, pass is caught by Jones. Flag flies. Thrown by the umpire. Maddox on the tackle. Short gain of just 2 yards. As Rodgers indicates, it's against Philadelphia.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face. Defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty at the previous spot, automatic. First down.
So Barnett, who made that big play a moment ago, he's been flagged twice. This last time for hands to the face. And a first down at the Green Bay 46. Rodgers spins out and is forced out. Hassan Ridgeway came up to force him out, and then Barnett was out there to push Aaron Rodgers out of bounds.
Well, the Eagles get a good push, but right here when they come inside, there's nobody then on contain. You know, initially you see Brandon Graham, he's the one who gets the push on Bakhtiari, but he doesn't maintain outside leverage, so he allows Aaron Rodgers to get outside the pocket, and you know, that's rule number 1 when you're playing number 12.
Second and 6, slipping is Aaron Jones, and the pass is incomplete. 31 seconds left, 3rd and 6.
I thought when that ball was being thrown that was going to be the one that got them into field goal range, but just poor execution there. I couldn't tell exactly if it was the throw that caused it or what, but nevertheless, here it is, 3rd down.
Eagles are without Tim Jernigan, still out with a bad foot. They had to put Malik Jackson on IR with a foot injury, and Fletcher Cox had that foot injury late last year, still working through some of that. Blitz, Rodgers steps into it. High throw and caught by Allison. Inside the 20. And Rodgers clocks it with 18, now 14 seconds left.
Well, you're right. The Eagles, they brought pressure. They brought the blitz, and that's not an easy catch whatsoever for Allison, because he knows he's going to get hit on the catch.
31 yards on 3rd and 6. End zone, touchdown, Allison again. Geronimo Allison, back-to-back grabs. Here's the big one on 3rd and 6.
Yeah, he's just able to get into the seam. They went single high safety with pressure off the edge, and he knows he's going to get drilled. So he's got to go up with all his height to make that play, and this was not good spacing at all between him and Jimmy Graham. He could have thrown it to either one of those guys on that play. Kind of caught the Eagles off balance a little bit with the quick snap. It's a great job of taking them down the field.
And the extra point makes it a 1-point game. Again, the Packers will receive the second half kickoff. And Rodgers could chew up a lot of yards in not much time.
Well, he didn't give the defense a chance to get set. And so there's the throw. Like I said, him and Jimmy Graham, you typically don't like him that close, but he had his pick. He hits Geronimo Allison, and hey, credit Matt LaFleur. He used his timeouts when the defense was on the field with the Eagles going in to preserve some time for his quarterback. Like I said, I don't think there's anybody better in the National Football League in the 2-minute drill than Aaron Rodgers,
who just took the Packers 70 yards in 50 seconds.
Which is kind of why, to go back to Sunday against Denver, when they took the knee, I know I was watching it and thinking, I don't know, this might be a first when you've got Rodgers as your quarterback. I understand if you got a young guy. Not this week.
Squib kick. Sanders swallowed up at the 25. Geronimo Allison, who just had the touchdown, is there for the tackle. Back-to-back catches by Allison, then for good measure a tackle on special teams for Allison. Stay tuned for the Toyota halftime. Michael, Terry, Howie, and Tony from New York. And a sit down with J-Lo and Shakira.
Well, this has been a heck of a first half, and the Eagles have capitalized on some mistakes. They've played well, and the Packers certainly have.
Philadelphia went on 3 straight touchdown drives, and Rodgers and the Packers had an answer at the end of the half, a half that saw 412 yards, 41 points. Toyota halftime is coming up.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football schedules.
If you look at the first half stats, huge first half individually for Davante Adams, and a 1-point game with the Packers about to get the ball. Welcome back inside the booth. I'm Joe Buck with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. That was a fun first half, and now we'll see how this second half unfolds here at the start of week number 4. And I think that Eagles secondary has its hands full, not just with Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but Davante Adams, they haven't really come up with an answer yet.
They don't, and they've not matched him up with Rasul Douglas. Sidney Jones still banged up, and we've seen Avonte Maddox. He's struggling a little bit, and so if you look at the defense for the Eagles against this Packers offense, other than the strip sack, the Packers were able to go down there and score on 4 or 5 of their possessions. And so can special teams continue to be a factor? Can Jim Schwartz and this defense create more takeaways? Because short of that, they haven't shown an ability to slow down this Packers offense.
But offensively, the Philadelphia Eagles, I was impressed. I mean, they got into the hole on the road, short week, and they came right back and had 3 straight touchdown scoring drives.
Yeah, not a lot of yards, of course. They had short fields through the special teams, the big return by Sanders, and then the kick out of bounds by Mason Crosby, and then, of course, the short field with the takeaway. But, yeah, they were able to come away with touchdowns, and that's what it's going to take for them. If you're Philadelphia, I think you got to feel pretty good where you are right now at half, even though you gave up the touchdown drive with under a minute to play before the end of the half.
Let's check in with Erin Andrews.
Spoke to Matt LaFleur on the way out of the locker room. He said for his offense, just continue to keep their foot on the gas, and once again stressing converting on 3rd down. I mentioned to him that you guys had spoke quite a bit about this may be the toughest offensive line this Green Bay Packers defense has faced so far. He did agree. He said we stiffened up quite a bit. We need to stop them on the run. We were too loose over there, guys.
Aaron, thanks. First down from the 25. And they're going to start, the Packers are, with a run by Aaron Jones, and he gets a few extra yards there at the end of the play. And let's go to the other sideline and hear from Christina Pink.
Well, the answer to stopping Davante Adams, cover him, according to Doug Peterson. He said, we know he's a great player, but we have to do a better job against him in the second half. Not going to be easy, as Sidney Jones has officially been ruled out with a hamstring injury on offense. He credited the offensive line for the play that they've had in that first half. He said, we did a great job inside blocking for the run game, and that's opened up the play-action pass.
Second down and 6. Throw to the sideline, flag is thrown. That's Douglas in coverage with Davante Adams.
One-on-one, Rasul Douglas, you're right. There's the push, and the official's right on top of it. Rasul didn't like the call, but it clearly was, clearly was pass interference. And
pass interference. Defense number 32. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. It's an automatic first down.
I think that's the dilemma right now for this Eagles defense. They're banged up, and you try to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers without having to bring people. Hard to do right now with the guys that they have out of the lineup, when Malik Jackson, a guy they were relying on. Tim Jernigan, he's out still. At the end of that half, they started giving help to the outside, knowing the Packers were going to throw the football like they are now with 2 deep safeties. And that's why Geronimo Allison then had the plays he had in the middle of the field.
Handoff to Jones, tripped up. Good play was made by Zach Brown, a gain of just 2. There was a lot of room in front of Aaron Jones if Brown doesn't get his foot.
5-3.
Jones right side. Fletcher Cox is there to help stand him up. A gain of 1. So 3rd and long coming up for the Green Bay Packers. Brian Bulaga is questionable to return with a shoulder injury. So Alex Light is still out there at right tackle, number 70, a 2nd-year free agent from Richmond.
Well, the best the Packers had done through 3 games was against Minnesota, when they converted 33% on 3rd down. They had not been able to convert through the first 3 weeks, but boy, they are having a good night tonight. 60%, and that's been part of the problem for the Eagles defensively.
3rd down and 7 down the sideline. Pass is incomplete. Avonte Maddox covering Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and it's 4th down.
He never does really get turned around to make a play on this ball. You see, he's just out there scrapping, trying to do all he can. The crowd sees this. They want pass interference, but from where that ball was, it looked like a play might have been able to be made. They're going to take a look, it appears.
Matt LaFleur, fans are begging him to throw the challenge flag, and he slams it down. This will be a challenge by the Packers, saying there was pass interference. Mike Pereira, this was on our training tape a couple of weeks ago. There is no such thing as face guarding. So
No.
yes, you know, Maddox doesn't get his head around. The question is
Green
there
Bay
enough
is
contact
challenging the
there?
ruling on the previous play
and,
that there
and
was
actually,
no
I put this play on the recent training tape. If you watch that one, I think there is. He's not playing the ball, plays into the body, significantly hinders his ability to make the catch. We'll see what they rule when they come back.
Here's the call.
After review, the ruling on the field does stand as called. It's 4th down. Green Bay will be charged their first timeout and has one challenge remaining.
You know, looking at this play, I agree with Mike that I do believe that it was pass interference. The question now becomes with all of these as to whether or not they're going to change the call, and that's what becomes hard. I think that most everybody watching that would say it was, but it's kind of where we're at right now, and I know certainly frustrating for Matt LaFleur.
He obviously loses a timeout with that as the punt by Scott is out of bounds at the 24. These sidelines have been active, no doubt, on a Thursday night. Here are sounds of the game.
Welcome back, big dog. Go. Hear me out. You're better than me. Okay? Challenge. Okay? They ain't never been punched in the mouth. Let's keep punching them, man. They never been punched in the mouth.
Philadelphia leading by a point, taking over at their own 24. Play action. Ertz gets flipped, and they're going to mark him down very close to first down yardage. They're going to say he's just short.
Well, it's a nice start here on first down, and it's not going to be particularly pretty for this Eagles defense trying to match up and slow down this Packers offense tonight. But they were able to make a stop. Whatever you think of the call, they didn't get it, and so they had to punt. Now we'll see if Carson Wentz, he's worked with a short field. They got some things going. Can he take them the length?
Handoff here is to Sanders. He's got a first down and then lowers his shoulder out to the 39, a gain of 6. Mike, do you want to weigh in on them not overturning that no call?
Well, I think, you know, it has to be clear and obvious. To me, I think it was. Look at you've got a defender not playing the ball, and in slow motion, I think he significantly hinders his ability to make the catch. And so, to me, it qualifies into defensive pass interference under this replay rule, and I would have liked to see that overturned.
Instead, the punt followed. Now a first down for Philadelphia at their own 39. Pass is dropped by Jeffrey. Kevin King was out there, and he made the play. Jeffrey looked like he had it in his hands for a moment, could not secure it.
That's a really nice job by the third-year corner, Kevin King. He has it, and then King comes in and he's able to jar it loose. And you know, that's the guy there. You think about all the defensive backs. I don't know if there's a team in the league, there can't be, that has spent more first and second round picks in recent years on defensive backs than the Green Bay Packers, and many of those guys no longer even on this roster.
Wentz waited, gets Mack Hollins with a first down. He had an early look at Hollins, waited, and Hollins found that next window, and that was good for 13.
And that next window draws you closer to the quarterback, and so to make that catch with just hands, I mean, that's a high ball. That's not an easy catch for Hollins to make.
Here's Sproles bouncing off a tackle. Savage, the rookie, in on the stop. A gain of 4 back to that throw to Hollins.
You know, we haven't talked much about the fact that Deshaun Jackson isn't here and the time missed over the last couple of weeks, Alshon Jeffrey, and how Carson Wentz has had to operate with a short deck. But Mack Hollins is a guy who I really like. I mean, he's not going to just burn by people, but he's tough. He can kind of do it all. He's got good transition, and he's a guy that Carson Wentz likes a lot.
2nd and 6. Jeffrey over the middle, inside the 30. And now an impressive drive put together by Carson Wentz. There was pressure by Preston Smith, and that completion to Alshon Jeffrey for 16.
Well, it's a blown coverage because Blake Martinez looked like he was playing man coverage, and he runs out with the tight end. It opens up the middle of the field.
And as the Eagles try to hurry it up, one of the Packers defensive backs is down. That's Will Redmond. And so the whistles blow to stop Philadelphia from snapping it on 1st down. It's only week 4, but the Dallas Cowboys are sitting on top of the NFC East off to that 3-0 start. Then you've got Philly and the Giants coming off that thrilling win behind Daniel Jones at 1-2. Redskins were taken apart by Chicago on Monday night.
Well, and it's why this game is so important. You know, is it a must-win? No. It's week 4. But when you look at that, and not to mention if they were to then go to 1-3, and Dallas possibly, they got a tough game this week against New Orleans Saints. But 3 of the next 4 games for the Eagles are on the road. So counting this game, 4 of 5 on the road. That's a brutal stretch. If they could steal one here in Green Bay, that'd be huge. It sure helped make up for that loss to some degree on Sunday to the Lions.
So Redmond took a shot to the head off the arm of Blake Martinez, setting up a screen. That is caught by Howard. Blake Martinez able to get through to make the stop. But Jordan Howard good for 8.
I like Jordan Howard. I like, you know, he came onto the scenes with the Bears, did some nice things. His production has kind of decreased over the last few years, but he's a different kind of back, certainly to Sanders. It helps him.
Here he is swinging out. Howard will walk in for the touchdown. Beautiful touch throw from Carson Wentz, and 20 yards for the score for Jordan Howard.
Well, a nice design by the Eagles, and Martinez is in man-to-man coverage on Jordan Howard. You can see him right here. You got Matt Collins, he's going to come off the ball. He pushes up the field. That's a natural pick. He knows exactly who he's got to run his man into. They pick off Blake Martinez, and that's why Jordan Howard was as open as he was.
And now leading by 7, the Eagles, who were 2 for 3 this season, going for 2, will try and make it a 9-point game and a 2-possession game. They do this quite a bit second half when they're up by 7.
They do, and they feel that even if they don't get it here, they come back, they get it the next time.
Just got it away. Jeffrey spins, does not make the catch with King in coverage. And it stays a 7-point game. Jeffrey could not secure the 2 points. Jordan Howard, however, secured 6. And the lead for Philadelphia on a Thursday night is 7. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light Platinum. 7-point game, the visiting Eagles on top. You take away that kneel down at the end of the first half, the Eagles have scored touchdowns on 4 straight drives, and that last one came when Matt LaFleur challenged what he thought was defensive pass interference, did not get the call. The punt, and then the drive that went 76 yards on 8 plays. And ended with a touchdown catch by first-year Eagle Jordan Howard. Tonight after the postgame show, NFL Total Access wraps up the night with highlights and expert analysis. NFL Total Access tonight after the postgame, only on NFL Network.
Well, you look at that decision by Doug Peterson to go for 2. They got a 7-point lead. I I don't disagree necessarily with the call. That's his style. That's the way he has called things since taking over in Philadelphia. He has a chance to make it a 2-possession game. If you don't make it, you still have a 7-point lead. Knowing that he could have made it an 8-point, and that 1 point could prove significant, but I like the aggressiveness that he's shown throughout.
Here's a big play made. That was Josh Sweat as he came through and knocked Aaron Jones backward, a loss of 2.
Talked about how shorthanded this defensive front has been with some of the injuries, but they've got guys who can make plays. I still think they have a good rotation. This group plays hard. That's a heck of a play by Josh Sweat coming in and getting after him on first down.
Went right through Alex Light, who's replaced Brian Bulaga at right tackle. Here's a quick throw. Davante Adams picks his way for a nice gain on 2nd and 12. Sendejo out there for Philadelphia and leaving the field to get looked at after being in that blue tent on the sideline is Will Redmond. And while the Eagles are getting thin at defensive back, the Green Bay Packers have plenty to choose from. 3rd down and 3.
Rasul Douglas here on Davante Adams with no safety help. The safeties up here. They might bring pressure.
Rodgers is nearly picked. That's Bradham. Stepped right into that lane and off his hands or arms. It's 4th down.
Great job by Jim Schwartz. They show pressure. They're going to bring the blitz, and then they drop Bradham out underneath it. You can see him right here. It looks like they're going to bring everybody, and then he drops underneath it. They're trying to hit the slant in behind him, and the Packers are just fortunate that ball was not intercepted.
Would have been a tough pick. The velocity on that with him being that close. But a stop. Fair catch called for and hauled in by Darren Sproles. And the Eagles, who lead by 7, get the ball back. 7:50, 3rd quarter at Lambeau. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light Platinum. Street signs that honor Packers of the past, including Mike McCarthy, their longtime head coach. He and the Packers won it all back in 2010. We're starting field position for Philadelphia, and the pass is incomplete. Pressure by Tramon Williams. And Goddard was there waiting for the pass. Somehow Wentz was able to get rid of this and avoid a sack.
I was just going to say, you look at this game right now, this sack machine that we've known from the Packers defensively, they've not been able to get to Wentz, and they've not been able to create a takeaway. But they brought Tramon Williams. Looked like more of a run blitz, but then he peeled off of it and was still able to get to Wentz.
Here is a handoff to Sanders. Blake Martinez on the tackle, a gain of 5. 3rd down coming up. Christina, give us more on Alshon Jeffrey.
Well, yeah, he was clearly frustrated after that failed 2-point attempt, slammed his helmet down on the bench. Several teammates had to come over and calm him down. But this is a guy who might not be at full strength tonight. Talked to him in warm-ups, asked him if he's 100% coming off that calf issue, and he said, I'm ready to go. He's been running well, but has been moving pretty slow, watching him throughout the game on the sideline.
And a timeout with the play clock at 1. We'll be back after this from State Farm. Defense trying to force its first 3 and out of the ball game. They had 10 over the first 3 games. Third down and 5. Pass is incomplete for Jeffrey with King there for the Packers.
That was good coverage there by the Green Bay Packers. They bring a 5-man rush trying to get to Wentz, but here's Kevin King. He's all over Jeffrey and everywhere else. It's locked up. There's one single safety deep, and everyone else is locked up pretty good. Wentz knows he's got to get the ball out. That's well done by the Packers to force the 3 and out.
Johnston hits it. And a fair catch called for by Darius Shepard. 51-yard punt. Nothing on the return. Here comes the Green Bay offense down 7. 7-point Philadelphia lead. Aaron Rodgers has gone 7 for 15 after his 10 for 10 start. Also turned it over on that strip sack by Derek Barnett. That's the only sack in the ball game total. Davante Adams at the top. He's already had a career day. Rodgers gets away from a sack and then throws it away, with Brandon Graham applying the pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and number 17 has had his way most of the game.
Yes, he has, and he especially has when he's been matched up on Avonte Maddox. That's a tough assignment. You always know you're going to have to potentially get out there and play, but with Sidney Jones going down, it's put him in a position to where he's had to man that left corner position, and they've been able to get after him a little bit.
Rodgers feeling pressure again. Bradham can't bring him down, and Rodgers has got a first down. Came in with 5 carries for 7 yards. He also came in with 215 rushing first downs in his career, and he just went 13.
Yeah, totally maddening for a defense. Barnett is able to apply the pressure off the edge. Fletcher Cox not able to make a play once he begins to scramble, and that's his signature move. He slides up with outside pressure and then ducks and wheels back out to the left if he's flushed, or to the right, but this time he keeps it. Nice game.
Jones wrapped up, and a good play by Graham. A loss of 4.
I'll tell you, Brandon Graham, he's been doing it a long time. Here he is in his 10th year, and I've always liked the way that he plays. He gives it everything that he has. He's a heck of a pass rusher, and he can play the run. And one thing about this Eagles front, they will not quit. They rotate them through, and they play hard for 60 minutes.
We saw Josh Sweat make a play across from Alex Light the last time the Packers had it, and that time Graham went right through the second-year player Light. With Bulaga hurt and out for the rest of the game. Pass is caught by the fullback Vitale. Fletcher Cox with pressure on Aaron Rodgers. A gain of 7. 3rd down coming up.
Well, can the Eagles make a stop on 3rd down? They've been pretty good here as of late. You wonder, Joe, with the Packers, they haven't been able to get Aaron Jones going with the running game, and how much was impacted with Jamal Williams going down early in this ball game. Certainly affected what they probably had in mind within the run game.
3rd down and 7. Extra men on the rush. Rodgers finds his man, and a first down inside the 30. Marquez Valdez-Scantling for 26.
Well, it's a great job of finding the hole and not much resistance, but here's the Aaron Rodgers signature move I was talking about. He drops back, outside edge pressure. He gets the block by Vitale, but he steps up and then peels out. And if you allow him those lanes, he will dice you up throwing the football.
And that's why teams don't like to blitz him. Eagles blitz, didn't make the play, and now big Jimmy Graham takes the ball inside the 15 with a gain of 15. Aaron Rodgers telling us he is really wanting to get Jimmy Graham more involved.
Well, especially down here. You know, he is such a threat as a former basketball player. He's playing to the inside right now in the slot.
Packers 2 for 4, scoring touchdowns inside the red zone. Adams with Maddox in coverage. Second down.
Yeah, that's you got to pick your poison if you're Jim Schwartz. So you try to take away a guy like Jimmy Graham, but in doing so, you allow one-on-one coverage on Davante Adams outside. If he tries to give help to the outside after that throw and then trying to take advantage of that, then you're dealing with Jimmy Graham working the middle of the field.
At least for Maddox, it's a little more condensed down here. He had good coverage there. 2nd and 10. Adams 13 targets, 9 catches. Graham, touchdown, Green Bay.
Bring the blitz here. Aaron Rodgers sees it immediately. He knows he's got the wheel route, and he's got to navigate the free rusher. Because they're bringing the pressure, he likes what he has if he can buy enough time to give Graham up the boundary, which he does, and then he can throw any ball from any platform, and he puts it right on the money.
To tie the game.
You know, that's what it's not just Jim Schwartz. It's anybody who has to call defenses against Aaron Rodgers. He just sees everything. He knows what you're doing, and within every defense, no matter what you do, there's a vulnerability. There's a weakness within the coverages. So you bring pressure. We got to get to them in order to stop this drive, which a lot of coordinators do down in the red zone. How can we keep them out of the end zone? But he does a great job of buying time and delivering a good ball. A lot of younger quarterbacks, one, may not ever see the blitz. Secondly, even if they do, they're not going to be able to deliver it with the accuracy of an Aaron Rodgers.
73rd touchdown catch in the 10-year career for Jimmy Graham. That is 39th all time. And since Jimmy Graham came into the league in 2010, he's number 2 in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns among all tight ends. Well, we are excited about it. Friday night SmackDown premieres on Fox October 4th with the star-studded 20th anniversary event. Join Hulk Hogan, Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin together on WWE's biggest night. Don't miss Friday night SmackDown October 4th, only on Fox.
Little SmackDown. I like it. It's your best promo read of the night.
Thank you. It's with your guy Hulk Hogan.
That is my guy.
From the 25. Here's a carry by Sanders, and he is out and into Packer territory. Shows his speed, picks up 30.
Well, this is what they missed when they didn't have Dallas Goedert for that one game. He comes into the formation. You see the crack block that he puts on Dean Lowry, number 94, and another lane you could run a truck through for these running backs. They've had some big gains in the running game.
Sanders 9 carries, 66 yards. That was a season long for Philadelphia, 30-yard run. They go back to him, to the 41. The Eagles have not had a 100-yard rusher in 31 straight games coming in.
Right behind us.
That is the longest active streak in the NFL by a lot. And since Doug Peterson took over in 2016, no Philadelphia running back has averaged as many as 60 rush yards a game.
It's been tough sledding through the first 3 weeks trying to run the football, but you knew for them to have any kind of success tonight, that was going to have to be a big part of it, and they've done a good job. That offensive line has.
2nd and 6, backing up as he fires a strike to Ertz for the first down. With 1:50 left, Zach Ertz hauls it in. Big Preston Smith out there.
I like that. I like the odds for Ertz winning on that route. That was one Mike Pettin was saying, I hope they don't figure this one out.
Handoff to Howard. Kenny Clark makes the play.
See Alshon Jeffrey, we talked about him banged up with the calf and has missed some time in a short week. A lot of times coaches will err on the side of caution on a short week, but as we've talked about, really important ball game for the Eagles, and with a calf you just don't know how long it's going to hold up, especially for a wide receiver. Other positions, quarterback for instance, I had it, you can manage it, but he's on the outside one-on-one. Can he accelerate?
Wentz goes to him. Incomplete. There was a window there for a completion. Kevin King is out there again on Jeffrey. It'll be third down.
Yeah, it did not look like he could really turn it loose, but I couldn't tell if King got his hand in there again. And he did. That just was not a real good throw by Wentz. He wishes he had put it more on the outside, more on the line, but Kevin King now has made several plays on the football.
3rd and 10. And now a challenge flag by Doug Peterson. And you can read his lips saying defensive pass interference.
Well, that looked like less than what they didn't call earlier.
Well, the hand gets in there before the ball. I'll say that.
Philadelphia is challenging the ruling on the previous play that there was no pass interference called.
So far with this rule change, there have been 27 challenges total. This is the 3rd of this ball game. 7 have been overturned.
Yeah, I don't think this one has any chance of being overturned.
Mike Pereira, what do you think?
I don't think I would go that far and say that, but
well, that's a good point.
If you're going to look at consistency here based on the one that was not reversed or not put on earlier, then you'd say it wouldn't be. But when you look at this in slow motion, then he definitely makes contact with the left hand that keeps them from actually making the catch. Now, do they say that it's significantly hindered? Do they say that it's clear and obvious? I think that's where we're trying to find the fine line here. But this is what this new rule does here. Yep. Puts us into areas where we've got stops like this. Like without a stop, nobody really would have said anything. But now we're trying to take it frame by frame to see if it's a foul. So we'll see.
It is an interesting decision by Doug Peterson. Obviously, in a tie ball game here, winding down the 3rd, this would be a big first down. Down here in scoring position, can you capitalize, come away with it? They're already in field goal range, but can they come away with 7 points? But if you don't get the call, these timeouts are
After
big.
review, the ruling on the field does stand as called. It's an incomplete pass. It's 3rd down. Philadelphia will be charged their first timeout, and they have 1 challenge remaining.
And if you can say anything about this, it's perfectly consistent with what happened earlier. And I think every coach and everybody is looking for consistency, so that's what you get there.
3rd down and 10. Pass is caught by Jeffrey inside the 20, and Alshon Jeffrey gutting through that bad calf. Good for 16.
Yeah, really good on a lot of levels. He snaps this route off, and that's what you have to do. He's able to get the defender running, King, but Wentz makes a great throw with Martinez right in his face. A free rusher, he stares it down and delivers a strike. Great route and really great execution on the throw by Wentz.
And that's how the third quarter will come to a close in a tie ball game. Opportunity for Philadelphia. Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light Platinum. Back after this. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light Platinum. Up above on this nice evening in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm. Eagles are inside the red zone. They're perfect 3 for 3 in there. 7 for 12 down here coming in to this ball game. They led the league in red zone touchdown conversions when they won it all in 2017. This is Howard, and he sets up 1st and goal. And Troy Doug Peterson is stuck with the running game. 26 runs, 24 passes, and some big holes opened up by this offensive line.
Well, they're all doing a great job. That time the 2 tight ends, Goddard, he blocks down, Ertz blocks out, and it opens up another canyon for this running game.
Eagles are averaging 5.7 yards per rush.
Hey, the way they've run the ball, I would just turn right back and hand it to them again.
And they do. Howard is in for the touchdown. Survived a hit, fought his way in. Fackrell couldn't bring him down. And Howard's got his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Jordan Howard shows some real toughness. You're right. He takes a hit. You know, right about the line of scrimmage right there by Blake Martinez, and he's able to keep his feet. That's a big blow, but the story for the Eagles anyway has been the fact that they have run the ball. They've got over 150 yards rushing, have not given up a sack, and have not turned the ball over, the 2 things that this defense has thrived on the first 3 weeks.
2nd rushing touchdown of the night for Jordan Howard. He added one on a touchdown reception. He's had a big night. So has Alshon Jeffrey, who set him up. And on Thursday Night Football, Eagles back on top by 7. On defense, Reggie White, 2006 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, 198 career sacks. He had 124 of those with Philadelphia, 68 and a half of those with the Green Bay Packers, and he won Super Bowl 31 with the Pack.
My rookie year, he ran me down from behind, and I knew I knew this was a different league.
And he was a different player. Here is a slip by Tremon Smith as he crossed the 20. So Aaron Rodgers in this offense back to work. They've already lost Brian Bulaga with a shoulder injury, and word from the sideline and Aaron Andrews is they've been working on the neck a couple of different times for David Bakhtiari. They've got Alex Light, a 2nd-year pro, out at right tackle. And we'll keep our eyes on Bakhtiari.
Yeah, Bakhtiari, he was dealing with a back injury this year. He's just been banged up, and now with the neck.
On 1st down, pass is caught. That's Graham, who had a touchdown earlier. Picks up 9, maybe 9.5.
Well, like I said a little bit earlier, Joe, you know, how much of the game plan changed with Jamal Williams going down is anybody's guess. The likelihood that the Packers were going to run the football, nobody really had. They're pretty good against the run, so it was primarily going to be on Rodgers anyway, but they've not had any kind of success on the ground. Any time they're going to move the football tonight, it has been because of number 12.
Rodgers looking for a block, gets a 1st down, and plenty more. Slides to the 44.
Yeah, he'll just add to his rushing totals. He was already the leading rusher prior to that run.
Big number 63, Corey Linsley, gets a block for the 14-yard gain.
I think Jim Schwartz defensively is just trying to keep from giving up a big play. You know, maybe someone can strip sack like we saw in the first half, make a play on the ball. They're playing coverage a little bit more right now than they were.
319! 319!
Pass is caught by Jones. Nice catch and then a run. Got through a couple of hits, gets 14. Missed tackle by Zach Brown.
Yeah, so Rodgers is so patient as a quarterback that he sees the two safeties look, and he knows that, okay, well, I'll come underneath then to Aaron Jones, and somebody has to be able to come up and make a tackle against a pretty good player in space, and they're unable to do it.
Jones. Maddox can't bring him down, but Zach Brown does this time. And a flag.
I thought there might be one coming out.
That'll be on Brown for flinging Aaron Jones to the ground.
And that's exactly what he calls, and this has been focused on for the last couple of years. You can't lift and throw him down. The WWE is coming to Fox, and we had it here tonight. So
the whistle was blowing at that point. These guys can't always hear it, but
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 52. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
These are big penalties. They've had a few of them, and they've had some costly penalties, and they haven't turned the ball over, and they haven't given up sacks, but they still have been penalized tonight, and that's a costly one.
That's 30 yards of penalties against Zach Brown. He had a 15-yard face mask foul against him in the first half. Rodgers, Jones breaks one tackle. That was Bradham. And then runs into a wall at the 21. The NFC North is off to a good start. In fact, teams so far through 3 weeks, 7-0-1 when they play teams outside the division. Green Bay sitting on top at 3-0. Detroit coming off a win in Philly at 2-0-1.
Yeah, and for Green Bay to open up this season with a win within the division against the Bears on the road, that was a huge win. And then to come back and beat Minnesota, so they're off to a good start.
2nd and 6. Adams broken up. And this time the play was made.
It was made. It was a throw Rodgers would like to have back, because Davante Adams has him, and Rodgers just not quite able to get that out there where he wanted to, just underthrown enough. Maddox doesn't know it's coming in, but you can see he wished he had been able to put another foot on that throw.
Left arm of Avonte Maddox knocked it away. Third down and 6. Rodgers directing traffic. Adams with a first down inside the 10.
Well, the Eagles, they go to zone coverage, and you're going to see Davante Adams. He just finds the hole. They've done this a million times with Rodgers outside the pocket.
Pass is caught. Graham to the 5. Sendejo in on the tackle, a gain of 3.
It's a pretty good job, though. It's not easy to bring a guy like Jimmy Graham down like that. They rally, and it's a minimal gain. But the good news right here for Avonte Maddox in this secondary is the Packers only have 15 yards of field to work with. So they're protected by the end line. Those windows get smaller. They're not threatened now by anybody running by them.
319!
That's Lazard in motion. Pass is broken up. Flag. Maddox in coverage on Alan Lazard. You saw the catch, Troy, by Davante Adams. He was grabbing his right foot, and he checked out. He's on the sideline, and that's why Lazard was even in the ball.
Pass interference. Defense, number 29. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. It's an automatic first down.
I think where he got him was the right arm. You know, he hooked him with that right arm and got him turned. The officials right on top of it. I think that was a good call.
That is the 8th penalty flag on the Philadelphia defense.
Well, it's Jimmy Graham down here at the bottom.
His direction and incomplete. Rodney McLeod in coverage and almost a one-armed grab.
Yeah, you just got to get that ball up higher. Jimmy Graham's 6'7". McLeod's 5'10". And he leads him up the field just enough to where, you know, alley-oop that thing. We had a game one time in Los Angeles against the Rams. We would literally throw an alley-oop to Michael Irvin because the guy covering him was so short. 3 touchdowns that day.
2nd and goal. Rodgers keeps. Play's not there for Vitale.
Well, here it is.
Brandon Graham was right in Aaron Rodgers' face when he turned around.
Yeah, this is a good job defensively, waiting for the boot. And you know they worked on that with what little time they had to prepare. But I've got to believe that this is 4-down territory for Matt LaFleur.
Third down and goal. They fake the handoff, and the play's not there. Incomplete. It's 4th down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the receiver didn't do what Aaron wanted or he just wanted him to do a little bit more. But when he comes off the fake to Aaron Jones, it was Jimmy Graham out there that I think he wanted him to at least go to the back pylon to give him a chance. Instead, Jimmy just kind of hooked up right there with the defender right in his face and didn't do anything for his quarterback.
And they do go for it on 4th and goal.
And the struggles that they've had running the football, you know, it's hard to believe they're going to go that route.
Rodgers flushed out to his right. End zone. Incomplete for Graham. And the Eagles will take over with 9 minutes left and the ball sitting at their 1. The inability to run the football. A good stop by this Eagles defense as Philadelphia leads by 7. Welcome back to Thursday Night Football, presented by Bud Light Platinum. Eagles take over. 1st and goal a moment ago for the Green Bay Packers from the 1. 4 straight incompletions. Not even a hint of a run. Here's a carry by Howard. Martinez on his back. And some breathing room for Philadelphia. Let's go back.
Well, here was 3rd down, and there never was, it was never a chance he was going to give the ball to Aaron Jones. He didn't even ride him in the pocket, so I don't know if he thought he was going to be able to keep it and score. I don't know what 3rd down was, is what I'm saying. And then 4th down, it's just street ball and try to make a play. But, you know, this defense has them backed up. How about 1st down run, knowing they're going to run the ball, and they pick up 7 yards to get off their own goal line.
Here's Howard. He's got a 1st down and more.
That's impressive right there.
Aaron.
Joe, still no word on Davante Adams. He has been in this tent the entire time. You see him right there holding that right foot. He came over to the sidelines and tried to stretch it out a bit, and that's when they placed him inside the tent. Most of the time, guys, they were in the red zone. You mentioned it. Adams not out there. That was huge for them.
Well, since 2016, Davante Adams with 26 red zone touchdown receptions, #1 in the NFL, and they didn't have him there. And they missed him. They're just going to stick with the ground game, and why not? As Howard carries it, Martinez on the stop, a gain of 3.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'd run it again. I mean, it's hard to do in this league these days to stick with the running game. When they pick up 7 yards, it's easy to run it on 2nd and 3. But now 2nd and 7. You know, will they run it will they run it again here? I would. And then you've got at least a manageable 3rd down. If you pick up any kind of yards, maybe you pick up the 1st. But they've been winning up front.
Blitz. Pass is caught by Ertz. 1st down. And a drive that started a moment ago at their own 1 is already out to the 31.
Well, Mike Pettin, he doesn't want to see it, so he brings pressure, and Wentz sees it this time. He gets the ball right out, and they're able to pick up the necessary yardage for the 1st down to move the chain. So already this has been a successful drive for Philadelphia. You're backed up on the 1-yard line. You're merely just trying to pick up 1 first down. That's the whole objective at that point. And now they got plenty of room to operate. They're going to try to get some points on this one.
Here's Sanders. Gain of 1. Flag is down. Flag was thrown in the secondary. Vontae Adams
during the run, personal foul, face mask, defense, number 94. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. It's an automatic 1st down.
They get Dean Lowry on a face mask after a rare stop and a 1-yard run.
Yeah, that's you know, the Eagles, they've been victimized by enough of those penalties, and now the Green Bay Packers are as well. And just take a look at it. They're number 94 right in the middle of the screen. Isaac Seumalo is who he was holding. And you know, right now, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz, you're thinking you've got to come away with some points on this drive. 2-possession lead with 6 minutes and counting. Good offenses, they make it happen here.
Handoff is to Howard, and a nice gain on 1st down, as Howard has 5. Goodson, a former New York Giant, traded just before the start of the regular season, made that tackle, and Jordan Howard is up to 89 yards in the ball game.
He's looked good. He's gotten more of the carries here tonight over Miles Sanders, but overall it's been a good 1-2 punch. They've mixed Sanders in there pretty good also. That's kind of Doug Peterson's formula. He's always had a number of running backs that they've been able to go to.
Second and 5. Here's Howard, incomplete, and he gets hit by Goodson. And that'll stop the clock with 5:13 remaining. And the officials are going to check on the well-being of Jordan Howard.
He's got a chance if, as you said, as Howard then leaves the field, they're going to take a look at him. If he gets the ball, that's what you don't want to do as a quarterback. You lead him right up the field into a big hit by Goodson. If you stick it right on him, he's got a little bit of room. He makes Goodson miss. That was a big game.
3rd down and 5. Wentz slings it. Pass incomplete for Jeffrey. So they move it off their 1. They get the ball just short of midfield, and now the punt team comes on for Philadelphia.
That was Carson Wentz's worst throw of the night. They brought pressure. He has Jeffrey, and if he delivers the ball, you're going to see Jeffrey right here. If he delivers it, there's the out route, and you're not going to get much more open than that in this league. He just simply missed him. They pick up the 1st down if they connect.
Johnston hits it. There he is, Shepard with a fair catch after a 38-yard punt. Tonight's game summary presented by Toyota. And some highlights. After the Packers jumped out to that lead, Philadelphia went to work. Other than a kneel down at the end of the half, they scored touchdowns on 4 straight possessions, and then an answer by Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Graham. The last score, Howard with a touchdown run, his 3rd total touchdown of the game, 2nd touchdown carry. And after having 1st and goal at the 1, 4 straight incompletions, and the Packers turn it over on downs. Here's Graham with a 1st down.
Well, that last possession by Green Bay, they went right down the field then, and only to get stopped on the 1-yard line. We'll see what the Eagles can do. Davante Adams still over on that sideline. That helps with this Eagles defense.
There he is, Shepard in the lineup. The pass incomplete for Valdez-Scantling. Aaron?
Word on Davante Adams is he's questionable with a toe. I watched him try to walk around. He got really frustrated. He can barely move on that foot, but as you can tell, the helmet is on. He's putting the gloves on. Not sure if he's going to try to get in, but he's definitely trying to warm up a little bit, guys.
His catch set up 1st and goal. Later there was a pass interference, set up 1st and goal at the 1, and the Packers could not cash in.
Well, now Adams and Valdez-Scantling both are on the sidelines.
On 2nd and 10. Rodgers, Jones. 3rd and long coming up. A gain of just 2.
This will be interesting to see what Jim Schwartz. You know, there was a time where they could pretty much just rely on a 4-man rush, and you know, he was not a big blitz guy. They could get home. They could get to the quarterback, and as much as I like a lot of these guys they have, it hasn't been as effective. Right now it looks like he's going to bring maybe just even a 3-man rush.
All 4 come after Aaron Rodgers, who is out and has a 1st down. Ball comes out as he made that dive. The play is dead at the 36, and a 1st down for Green Bay. A gain of 11.
They try running a little game inside, but Curry is just not able to keep coming, and so they don't feel that gap. That's what opened up that running lane for Rodgers to keep it.
Mike?
People are going to question, is he actually down? Was he touched? Makes no difference. When you dive forward now, you're giving yourself up. So as soon as you hit the ground, play is over.
Aaron Rodgers, the leading rusher tonight for Green Bay. Who would have thought that coming in as Rodgers drops it off. Pass is caught by Vitale. Right off the shoe tops, right off the top of the grass. Let's take another look. They're calling this a catch.
Well, I think it's incomplete, but it explains why after Zach Brown got a hold of him, no one else was coming over to help him make a tackle.
Fletcher Cox is down. They're looking at him, and that's why play was stopped. And that'll also give the Eagles another chance to look at that.
Well, it gives them a chance. They've already burned 1 challenge, and they've only got 1 timeout left. So Doug Peterson's got to be awfully certain on this one.
Mike, you think this pass is incomplete?
Yeah, on this, to me, he uses the ground to complete the catch. He doesn't have full control before the ball hits the ground. So if he wants to use this challenge to make it 2nd and 10, he could, and I think he would win the challenge.
As Troy said, 1 timeout left, 1 challenge, 3 minutes 19 seconds left, and the challenge flag right now is being held on to by Doug Peterson. He came in not having challenged to play this year and is 12 for 23 on challenges since he took over in 2016. Fletcher Cox, that's important for this Philadelphia defense.
Boy, you're not kidding. I gotta believe Doug Peterson saying it's just not worth the risk.
But it's 2nd and 2 instead of 2nd and 10. The pass is caught. Aaron Jones, first down and more inside the 45. McLeod with a tackle, but a catch and run of 13 yards.
Well, they're managing this pretty well without their big gun, Davante Adams, on the field.
To the sideline, caught. A short gain as McLeod makes the stop on Aaron Jones.
Good tackle by McLeod out there. Keeps him in play, keeps the clock running.
A young group of receivers out there for Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers out to his right, throws it away. You're used to seeing Randall Cobb out there for Aaron Rodgers. He's now a Dallas Cowboy. Rodgers would like to have him now. 3rd down and 8, 2 minutes left. All-Pro Fletcher Cox back out there for Philadelphia. Still trying to get right after that late season foot injury last year. And Davante Adams on a 10-catch, 180-yard night, a personal best with the 180, is not able to be out there when his team needs him the most. Down by 7 with 1:59 to go, with the ball sitting at the Philadelphia 41. 3rd down and 8. 2 downs to get 8 yards. Pass is incomplete, but a flag. Jimmy Graham was the target with Jonathan Cyprien in coverage.
Had to go to jail for some things less than this. I mean, he's all over. I mean, that was about as easy as it gets. Schwartz decides to go man-to-man. You know, you don't have Davante Adams out there. You feel like you can match up.
Interference. Defense, number 37. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
That's the 3rd defensive pass interference called against Philadelphia. And it brings about first down with the ball at the 35.
Just all over him. I tell you, the guy he did have, who, not that there's anything wrong with going to Jimmy Graham in that situation, Geronimo Allison has been able to create a little bit of separation. Of course, he had the big catches to end that first half, too.
Pass is behind, but caught by Valdez-Scantling. And that takes it to the 18-yard line.
Not an easy catch when you're running the slant route and the ball is behind you as you're essentially running away, low and away from you. That's not easy to concentrate and make that play, and especially for a big guy like him at his height, 6'4", but he makes a nice grab.
Rodgers, end zone, Allison, incomplete. Devontae Maddox in coverage.
This for Philadelphia anyway, I think this comes down right now to whether or not they can generate any kind of pass rush up front, because this secondary seems to just be hanging on. You know, even without Davante Adams, I think these matchups favor the Green Bay Packers.
Second down. Quick throw pass is caught for a big first down, and that's Robert Tonyan, 3rd string tight end, and a player's down for Philly. That's Maddox.
This was a tight space. You see that Tanyan's able to go in there, and there's the collision right there. Sendejo, he comes in, and it's right there, the hit on Avonte Maddox by his own guy.
Let's look at the catch. Strong catch by Tanyan. And this stops the clock. So, Mike, this will be a charge timeout to Philadelphia.
Any injury inside of 2 minutes like this, in this case, stops the clock because it was completion. It goes to a charge timeout. So, got to be aware of these crazy rules that come inside of 2 minutes. But we'll be back with a first down after this.
On the third catch of the year for Robert Tanyan. His first catch of the night, the collision with Sendejo on Avonte Maddox, and they are still looking at him. Philadelphia's out of timeouts now because of this penalty, this rather injury timeout. And Maddox, well, he's had a long night, and now he ends up injured, colliding with his teammate Sendejo. Week 4 spotlight. All times are Eastern. Mahomes and the Chiefs against the Lions. That's on Fox. Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings off to their 2-1 start against the Bears. Same record for Chicago. Ezekiel Elliott, Cowboys and Saints on Sunday night. And then Mason Rudolph, who really played well, taking over for the injured Ben Roethlisberger. Pair of 0-3 teams on Monday Night Football on the ESPN in that matchup, and they still look at Avonte Maddox, and they are trying to stabilize, make sure that his head doesn't move. And this is the second time we've seen this tonight with a stretcher coming out. We saw that with Jamal Williams, and now it was almost whiplash with Avonte Maddox as he was hit by his teammate Sendejo. And let's just have those same thoughts and prayers for Maddox we had for Jamal Williams. Game summary. It's been some game on a Thursday night, and the official start to week number 4. A good one at Lambeau Field, and the Eagles needing one. A record of 1-2, up by 7, but the Green Bay Packers knocking on the door, and you see the combined total yards tonight at 824. Troy, Philadelphia will end up at home against the Jets, and what they hope will be the Jets do. Sam Darnold's return, and at Minnesota, at Dallas, and now all of Avonte Maddox's teammates out off the sideline to check on his well-being. Getting word in my ear that we saw him move down there. Obviously taking no chances or risks after that collision with Sendejo. And this lead in this game is hanging in the balance with 1:06 remaining and a 1st and goal coming up for the Green Bay Packers. Sidney Jones was lost earlier in the game to a hamstring injury. He came in without Ronald Darby, out with a bad hamstring. They don't have Jalen Mills, who's hurting on the physically unable to perform list, and now Avonte Maddox. A nice ovation by these fans packed into Lambeau Field. Meanwhile, Craig James, who's been on and off the active roster for the Eagles, added back on with the loss of Ronald Darby to the bad hamstring. Number 39, a first-year pro from Southern Illinois, is into the ball game.
Yeah, I would expect Aaron Rodgers to go after him. There's no doubt he knows that he's just come onto the field.
12th play of this drive, they carry it with Jones, and he is able to muscle his way to the 3. Because of that injury again to Avonte Maddox, Philadelphia out of timeouts. Packers have 2 left. They did not run the ball the last time they were knocking on the door with a 1st and goal from the 1. On 2nd down, in the air and picked off by Bradham. Philadelphia will take over as Malcolm Jenkins and Craig James just into the ball game combined to knock it up into the air, and Bradham gets the interception to, in essence, end this night and send Philadelphia to a 2-2 record.
They're trying to fit the slant in. I thought they had so much success running it on 1st down. They might come back with it there on 2nd. But just an outstanding job. Like you said, James has to come in off the bench. He gets his arms around him. A lot of contact there, but with the ball popping up in the air. Right there, it looked like he might have gotten there a little bit quick, but it was obviously a bang-bang situation with Jenkins coming in from inside out. 2 big stops there by this Eagles defense down at the goal line.
Yep, 2 goal line stands in the 4th quarter. And Jim Schwartz. And this defense for Philadelphia up to the challenge in a 34-27 win. And the Eagles are 2-2, and the Packers go to 3-1.
A big win by Philadelphia coming in here on the road. Really, like we talked about, backs against the wall. Not an easy place to play, an undefeated team. That's a great job on a short week. Doug Peterson extends his streak to 4 straight on Thursday night.
That is the first interception thrown this season by Aaron Rodgers, and it ends the night with that collision near the goal line. Ball in the air, and Bradham took it. And his first pick and 212 passes on the year ends the evening. Philly gets the win. Back after this.